Okay, today we're going to look at lesson 0. And we're calling this lesson 0 because it's a review of some stuff that you've done in Algebra 1 and then again at the beginning of Algebra 2 last trimester. When we start a new lesson, when we're taking notes, we're going to label it with the lesson number. Normally, if we were in person, I would do the section number, but to make our notes line up with our homework in Math Excel really easily, we just do lesson number. So this is lesson number 0. Then we write the I can statement or the learning objective. Today it's I can simplify expressions. When we're taking notes, I ask you to write down that learning objective or I can statement because it's really important for you to know what you're learning. You need to know what the end goal is for that lesson. It makes it a lot easier to determine whether you learned what you were supposed to or not. And if somebody asks you what you did today in class, you should be able to tell them. When we're in person and taking notes in our notebooks and doing notebook checks, I always look for the I can statement because it's important. Now, before we actually get started with today's lesson, I want to make a couple notes. First, this is a pre-recorded lesson, so it is different than what it would be if we were in person. If we were doing notes together in person, I would really fill the room. I would know if you need more time, less time. I could speed up and slow down, and we would pause, do some examples. We could have class discussion, and it would be different. However, right now I'm teaching to an empty room, so I am going to go faster than I would if we were in person, but this is a recorded video. You can pause it if you need to get caught up. You can rewind it if you need to see something again. It's really at your own pace. You can't skip ahead, but you can rewind and pause. So that should help you with the pacing and the quickness of the class or of the video. Now, as I go, I do ask you to take the notes with me, do the examples, try the examples. It will make your Math Excel work a lot easier. I will show you how to do each of the problems in your Math Excel homework and give you the skills to do that. But it is really important that you write them down and try them on your own. Also, sometimes, since this is an Edpuzzle video, sometimes there will be questions posed to you through Edpuzzle. If there are, I expect you to answer those. Sometimes there are notes, and sometimes there are no questions. You just have to watch the video to 100%, and then you'll automatically get the grade for it in Infinite Campus. Okay? So like I said, today we're doing lesson 0. Our I can statement is I can simplify expressions. We are simplifying expressions. Expressions don't have equal signs. We are not solving. We are just simplifying. And we're going to do so a couple different ways. The first way we're going to simplify an expression is by combining like terms. This is nothing new. You've done this for a while. To combine like terms, we add or subtract coefficients. We keep the variables and the exponents the same. So we're looking for terms that have matching variables and coefficients or that are just constants. So if you look at number 1, here we have a term with an x, so we look for something else that has an x. So we have 4x plus 10x is 14x. And then we also have negative 8 and positive 4. You add those together and get negative 4. So our answer is 14x minus 4. Okay? When you're combining, that's like saying 4 apples plus 10 apples is 14 apples. You're just adding those coefficients. Your variable stays the same. Okay? Pause the video, try numbers 2, 3, and 4, see what you can do, and then we'll check our answers. Okay, let's see how you did. So number 2, we have negative 6x squared and 4x squared. So negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2x squared. And then we have a 2x and a negative 8x. So 2 and negative 8 is negative 6x. Okay, we cannot combine these because this is an x squared and that's an x. That's like trying to add apples and oranges. You can't do it. Okay, next we have 12k squared. Oh, I guess, and that was supposed to be an x. I mixed them up. So sorry. So 12x squared. There's nothing else with an x squared, so I'm just going to bring that down. And then I have negative 4x. See, I can pair that up with the negative x. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. And then I have a 2 and an 8, and that gives me 10. Okay, and number 4, we've got x to the 4th and negative x to the 4th. So that's like 1 minus 1. Those cancel each other out. Then we have a 3x squared, and those don't match, so I bring down the 3x squared. And then I have a positive 4 and a negative 6, so 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Also, I forgot, and when I made this little mistake, it reminded me, I am going to make mistakes. I'm human. I overlook things sometimes. Sometimes I go too quick and I miss something. I make a mistake, and that's okay. A lot of math is about making mistakes and figuring out what you did wrong and fixing it. So it's really, really hard to learn math without making any mistakes. So don't judge me if I make a mistake. I won't judge you if you make a mistake. That's what it's all about. It's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them. Also, if we were in person and you were here with me, if I made a mistake like that, you would have caught it before I went on. So one of the downfalls to teach into an empty classroom is there's nobody here to look at what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And so sometimes I can't catch my mistakes until it's too late. So if I make a mistake, I'm not going to record a whole video just to go back and fix one mistake. But I will, if I catch it in time, I'll make a little note in the Ed Puzzle. But if I don't catch it, just let me know and just overlook it, okay? If it's something major, I'll address it to the whole class and we'll fix it. But if it's something minor, just forgive me and move on. Okay, the next way we're going to simplify expressions is by using the distributive property. This is nothing new. Again, something you've done many times before. So the distributive property says that if you multiply a quantity or a term by a quantity, like A times a quantity B plus C is the same as A times B plus A times C, and that's what we're going to do here. One important thing that we do need to note before we practice these is that if you have x times x, that changes to x squared. So that's going back to some exponent rules that you did back in Algebra 1, and we haven't really done exponent rules here in Algebra 2 yet, but this is something that you need to know and you need to be very familiar with. So x times x is x squared. When you multiply x's, you're just adding the exponents. Okay, so I'll do a couple problems with you and then I will let you have some time to try some on your own. So for the distributive property, we're going to take this outside quantity, multiply it by everything on the inside. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Okay, 3x times the quantity x plus 4. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 4 is 12x. Again, we cannot combine these because one's an x squared and one's an x. So what I want you to do, take just a second, try examples 3, 4, and 5 on your own, and then come back and check them with me. Okay, let's see what you got. When we're distributing a negative to a quantity, all it's going to do is change the signs. So our negative 2x changes to positive 2x. Our positive 6 changes to negative 6. All right, number 4, we have negative 6x times this quantity. So negative 6x times x squared is negative 6x cubed, so to the third. Negative 6x times 4x is negative 24x squared. And negative 6x times negative 8 is positive 48x. And again, we can't combine those because all of the x's have different exponents. Okay, and the last, number 5, this one we're doing the same thing, it's just switched around backwards. So we're doing negative 3 times the quantities, or you can think of it as 2x times negative 3 and 4 times negative 3. Either way. So 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x, and 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Okay, next we're going to simplify expressions by doing what we're going to call the double distributive property, or you can call it the FOIL method, or you might remember doing the box method back in Algebra 1. But all of those are the same thing. In Algebra 1, we really focused on the FOIL method because we were doing a binomial times a binomial. Okay. If you struggled with the FOIL method, then we used the box method to make it easier. It was like a Punnett square. But then we're really going to think of it as like the double distributive property. It's like we're doing the distributive property twice. Because later, when we start working with polynomials, you're not going to have a 2 times 2. You might have a 2 times 3 or 4. And thinking of the FOIL and box method is not going to help you very much. So we're going to kind of think of it as the double distributive property. But I will show you these other two just to show you how they work. So you can use those on these problems if it helps you, if it's a little bit easier. So we have the quantity x minus 6 times the quantity x plus 4. So first, I'm going to do it thinking of the double distributive property. So first, I'm going to distribute this x to that second set. Okay, so x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Now, I'm going to distribute that second term, so that negative 6. I'm going to distribute that to both parts. So negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Now, you check for any like terms, and I do have some. So this 4x and negative 6x is alike. So I'm going to have x squared minus 2x minus 24. And that's my final answer. Okay. Now, if you wanted to do the FOIL method, you would do this exact same thing, except this would be F, or this would be F, this would be O, this would be I, and this would be L. So you're really doing the same thing. You just are using that FOIL. So first, outer, inner, last. Okay, and it works out the same way. If you have trouble with that, you can use a box. So you just make a box, and it's like a window. And you put a binomial on one side and one on the top, and that helps you figure out what to multiply. So x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, negative 6 times x is negative 6x, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Then you look for like terms. So here, these are alike. And so you do the same thing and get the same answer. So you have x squared minus 2x minus 24. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you think of it. You can think of it as FOIL. You can think of it as the double distributive property. If you're really stuck, you can use the box. But either way, you're going to get the same answer. And I just need you to be able to do these quickly. So whatever method works for you is fine for me. Okay, here are 4 more problems. I would love for you to pause the video, give these a try, see what you can do, see what you can remember, use one of those methods that I just showed you, and then come back and check your answers with me. Okay, so number 2, let's think of the double distributive property. So I'm going to distribute this x to both terms. So x times x is x squared, x times 6 is 6x, and then I'm going to distribute the 8. So 8 times x and 8 times 6. 8 times x is 8x, 8 times 6 is 48. I'm going to combine my like terms in the middle. I have x squared, 6 plus 8 is 14, so that's 14x, and then plus 48. All right, number 3, distribute the x to the second quantity. X times x is x squared, x times 1 is x, and then negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. And combine your like terms in the middle. So we have x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, next we have x times x is x squared. X times negative 9 is negative 9x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And negative 7 times negative 9 is positive 63. I combine my like terms and have x squared minus 16x plus 63. All right, and then number 5, x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. 10 times x is 10x. And 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. Combine my middle terms. I have x squared plus 7x minus 30. And just for good measure, try these last two and see what you get. Okay, let's check our answers. 2x times negative x is negative 2x squared. 2x times 6 is 12x. 4 times negative x is negative 4x. And 4 times 6 is 24. Combine your like terms, and we get negative 2x squared plus 8x, plus 24. And then 10x times 3x is 30x squared. 10x times 5 is 50x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. So that's 30x squared plus 44x minus 10. Okay, now use these examples to complete homework 0 in Math Excel. If you have any questions, please hit the Ask My Instructor button, send me an email, or hop back in the Google Meet and let me know. Have a great rest of the day.